Hey guys, kind of really not feeling the written blog post lately, so I thought I'd just go ahead and do another video post. And naturally what's kind of been on my mind is that X-Men First Class was just released on DVD and Blu-ray last week, so I basically have spent on and off, when I've got free time, I've been watching both the movie and all the various special features. So I figured I'd start with that and then show you a lot of, basically my X-Men collection. Best way to describe it. So here's the Blu-ray, which is very shiny. It's got the good guys on the front, bad guys on the back, which is pretty cool. I like that design. If you take it off, it's not the same. It's got a different design on it. So at least it's nice whenever they, sometimes they add these things and you wonder why, but this one is actually different. There's a lot of really good stuff. There's some deleted scenes. You've probably seen the best one already because they leaked that one on the internet and it's pretty funny. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. There's also what they call Cerebro Mutant Tracker, which kind of makes an effort to try to tie all the films together. It takes all the appearances of different, each character, it shows their appearances throughout the films, and in some cases attempts to sort of wash over it, whereas, because we don't see Emma at all in Wolverine, we only see her in First Class, but then on the other hand, Logan is distracting me again, he's shocked. We do see, Magneto through every film, and it's nicely done. It's whoever did the editing on those really did a decent job with them. There's also a making of documentary, which I found really interesting, informative, and then they also have what they call X Marks the Spot, which is one of those pop-up special features. You can also watch it without watching the movie, which is how I prefer, really. I find that when you have those pop-up things on movies, you're always sort of hovering over the remote because you don't want to miss them. So I'd rather just go ahead and just watch them all separately and not even worry about it. Also, and this is probably just the Blu-ray version, I would imagine. Maybe it is on the DVD too, I don't know. It's also got, if you could see, if I can, it's got access to 10 different comics online, which is really neat. I went ahead and signed up for those. Even though, it makes you think you're getting them forever. But no, you only apparently get them for a year, which I think kind of sucks. It's got, I'm looking at the page and it says access time remaining 11 months, 16 days. So it's counting down. But there's a First Class prequel comic, which I thought was really neat. And it actually, the thing about that comic, it basically describes how Emma met Sebastian Shaw for the first time. And in it explains that the reason that Shaw has the helmet is because he's taking precautions in case Emma starts to realize just how powerful she is. Whereas I found, when it just sort of suddenly pops up in the movie, oh, well, I'll be able to protect myself from that guy now. Why would he, no. But it makes sense that it's Emma that he would be trying to shut out because that's the kind of guy he is. So I really enjoyed that one. Everything else is kind of a mix. There's a few really older ones, like early Banshee Havoc and White Queen, and there's some more recent ones as well. So that you kind of get in a mix of old and new, and I think it's a decent taste for, probably some people who have never read the comics at all before. I think there's only one of these maybe two, that I actually already own. So that's kind of fun for me too. So that's pretty much, I don't really, I'm sure if you haven't seen the movie yet, watch it, whether you want to rent it or you want to just flat out buy it. If you enjoyed the first two X-Men movies and you haven't seen this one yet, I would say just buy it because you're probably going to like it. Bryan Singer produced this one and had a very large hand in it, and so it has a very similar feel to those first two movies. It's not going to tie in exactly. I did notice, because like when I did my original review, you know, I'd just gone and seen it in the theater and wasn't everything in my mind. But the one thing I did notice around this time is that in the very first X-Men film, Xavier is surprised that he can't read Magneto's mind because he's got the helmet on. And so, obviously, if this was to tie in to the other films, he would already know about that because he gets the helmet in this film. So that's one thing that's kind of a contradiction. Everything else, I think, is pretty... there's still a question of where Mystique fits in. Does Xavier already know about Mystique? But there really aren't that many interactions between the two of them. Beyond the fact that she sabotages him in the first film with putting the poison or whatever it is in Cerebro, but they never actually interact with each other. So I don't really consider that to be a contradiction. I mean, obviously by that point in time, she really doesn't want anything to do with him anymore, and I think that's a fairly logical conclusion. So from here, like I said, I'm just going to go through some of these things. You'll probably, if you've read my X-Men reviews, then you already know that I've got them, but I figure I'll just show you those real quick and also show you a lot of other stuff that is probably not entirely enough to do a post on its own, but I just think they're little fun things that you guys might want to see. So here we go. Okay, so I'm starting off with my VHS collection. You can see some of my other ones just for fun effect there. But as you can see, I had the first X-Men movie on VHS. I also, let's see, for my reviews, you may remember these. I've got Pride of the X-Men here. I'm holding this handheld, so my apologies if I'm a little shaky. Hello, Logan. He doesn't care about us. Scoot. And then here is my Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends with the X-Men on there, which Nightcrawler isn't in either episode. So why is he there? I don't know. I guess that's just, And then I've also got, there's a few of them. I don't know if you can tell here. Can I turn this sideways? Two different ones. That's X-Men episodes as in the cartoon, because at the time when I made these, that's all we had. This is fun. This is a tape that I decided to, you can tell I was like 13. Probably younger than that when these came out, because I decided to stick stickers all over it. But the funniest part is, shoot, I don't know if you can see that properly. Angel's tape, never tape over. Basically what happened was I had a copy of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure on VHS, and my mom taped over it, and I panicked, so I made absolutely certain that would never happen again. So there's a lot of other really fun stuff here, but that's for another time. Everything else is pretty much non-X-Men. Obviously you can see we taped a lot off of TV back then. And of course the Disney films, right? Everybody's got those. Couple non-Disney too, but mostly Disney. So from there we move up in technology a bit, and that's just gonna have to go away for the moment. Don't you love that? Isn't that like the craziest Wolverine you've ever seen in your life? I found that at, I think a Books A Million, and he was just so weird looking. I had to get him. So in here, and the lighting is not great, so I hope you guys can see. Let me see if I can kind of zoom in for you. I have the entire 5 volumes of the X-Men cartoon there. That's what those multicolored things are. And then, maybe kind of hard to see, that says X-Men 1.5. Basically, since I already had the film on VHS, I waited before I upgraded to DVD until they came out with that release, which is basically, it's kind of a misnomer in my opinion, because it kind of suggests that there would be like a lot more content, but ooh, 5 hours of behind the scenes footage, but I can't tell you a single thing that's on here that I really remember at all, so clearly it's not that good. It looks like, oh, there's a bunch of X2 previews. There you go. That's probably how they managed to attempt to get away with the 1.5 name. So, it's like the kind of thing at the time it was really neat. Yes, I do own a copy of The Last Stand. And it's nice and shiny, and it's got all kind of crazy stuff. And it's apparently got, you can't read that, I know. It says, like, comic reprint and collectible trading cards. But I'm not going to bother opening it right now because we got a lot more to cover. And Wolverine is the first of the ones that I got on Blu-ray because that's just the timing of it all. So, that's it for that collection. And while I'm already here, I don't make you too dizzy for a minute, let me sneak over here and show you that. That's my only X-Men game that I've got, but that's the one. This isn't the same copy that I had as a kid. I had to go and buy it again, but that's the game that I used to own, so I jumped on the chance to own it again, even though it's not a horrible game. It's just, read my review. Alright, so I am now in my bedroom to show off my X-Men t-shirt collection. This started back like, I don't know, I guess I was like 12, 13, and it's kind of continued to this day. So I'm actually going to kind of go in reverse order just because it's the easiest to do. This one, let's see if I can kind of show it to you all the way. Kind of, as you can tell, it's sort of giant size X-Men era there. I got this one at Hot Topic, I believe, a while back. Probably, I would say probably around the time X3 came out. This one was definitely around the time of Wolverine coming out. I got this at friggin' Forever 21, of all places. But it's Wolverine, and then Gambit and Deadpool are both kind of faded, but they're right there next to them. I don't know if you can really see. I wear this one a lot now, so it's starting to look a little worn. This next one has seen seriously better days. I don't know if you can tell how horribly beat up this thing is. But I found this at a garage sale, of all things. And if you can tell by looking at it, it says Wanted, Dead or Alive, and it's from the Extinction Agenda crossover, which was long before I started reading the comics. But I saw it and I was like, holy shit, something X-Men. And I had to get it, because when I was little, we used to go to a lot of garage sales. My mom was like, that was her thing. So that was a rare find for me. This one's fun. It's definitely different. It's kind of sort of like they just sort of wrapped a comic panel all around. The sleeves are black, but you've got kind of a lot going on, like obviously mostly Cyclops here on the back, and then Wolverine on the front. Probably not a surprise to you that I found this in the boys section of probably Walmart or Kmart. There was no girls t-shirts. I mean, I'm amazed that that Wolverine one exists even now. But all of my t-shirts from back then were from the boys department. So that's that one. This one's really cool. Nice Magneto shirt. I have a story from this one. My grandpa owns a lot of apartment complexes and he rents them out. And there was one where it was empty. And so I wish I had the picture to show you. Maybe, you know what, we probably don't have a picture because the way it happened. We were at one of the apartments, it was empty, and we were just sitting there waiting for, I think, him to show up. And I was wearing this shirt at the time. So, you know how like older carpet when you kind of rub it the wrong way, it becomes dark or light depending on... We basically, my dad, my brother, and I all rubbed an approximation of Magneto out onto the carpet. It was so cool. So yeah, we probably don't have any photographic evidence of that anyway for me to show you, but it was really awesome. I'm missing two. I'm guessing what happened is that they were probably the earlier ones that I got, and they, you know, like they were therefore smaller, and therefore they just didn't fit, and I guess I stupidly got rid of them. I can't imagine why I would do that, but I did. But one of them was like a dark blue, and it was Storm, which once again was in the boys department. Couldn't make a girl version of that. And then another one was like a teal color, and that was Archangel. And the Archangel one in particular I always remember because at the time I was in 8th grade, and as you can tell, my curls are not exactly the easiest thing to control. So I had gotten really sick of my hair, and I just cut it all off. I was like, I want to go, I want to get my hair cut just as short as you can possibly get it. And my parents were like, okay. So went and got it done, and at that time, these shirts that I'm showing you, except for the two more recent ones obviously, that was all I wore. I had a total of 6 of them. I don't know what I wore on the 7th day, but my X-Men shirts that was it. And God bless my parents for not telling me to wear something else or, you know, questioning me. They were totally cool with it, and they let me do it. Well, we go to this pizza place for like the first time, and you know, we're ordering and all, and the guy walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, little buddy, what do you want?" Thinking I was a boy. So it was like, that was one nice, horribly embarrassing moment, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm never cutting my hair this short ever again. But on a more happier note, one thing I was always very disappointed with was that I could never find a Rogue shirt. Rogue was my absolute favorite. You know, you could find Wolverine everywhere, of course, even then, but, or at least, you know, in the kids section, but there was no Rogue. So we went on vacation, I want to say to either Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, or one of the areas up in there. If you're familiar with that section of the country, it's very much touristy areas, and they have a lot of those airbrush shops where, you know, they usually have whatever the most popular characters are all up on the wall, and you can get it done, you can put your name on it, whatever you want to do, maybe the year, something like that. So one of the guys happened to mention, because I was looking and looking and looking, and of course I didn't see anything, and he was like, well, what are you looking for? And so I told him, you know, I really want Rogue from the X-Men. He's like, well, if you have a picture, you know, bring it in and I'll do it. So if you remember from my other video, and also I had scanned them all, I have those X-Men cards. So I brought them with me on vacation because, you know, just for something to do when we're in the hotel or whatever. So I brought in my favorite of hers, and he airbrushed it. And I hope you can see that, because he really did a fantastic job. I love this shirt so much that it is incredibly worn now, but it's just, I really think he did a great job with it. And I had him obviously put her name instead of my own, because that's what makes more sense to me. So yeah, so this one's the crown jewel of my collection, and it's actually quite huge, as you can see. So I could really still sleep in it still if I wanted. I usually don't, just because I'm afraid it's going to get even more damaged. But yeah, I don't know, I'm really proud of that. The guy even took a picture of it when he was done, because apparently he liked it quite a bit too.